Good morning, sweet ones. How are y'all doing? Happy May 2nd. It's a beautiful day. It's very beautiful here. I live just outside of Copper's Cove, Texas, and all week it's going to be 88, and it's really beautiful today. In my meditation last night and again this morning, I get up between 3 and 5 every day, and I go into meditation and whatnot. And in my meditation today, compassion and empathy really came forward is what is really being needed in this moment. Good morning. And oftentimes, throughout this journey, as everybody is on their own level of awareness, compassion and empathy get set aside. Everybody goes through spaces as they are on their journeys. For each level of awareness that one rises or evolves themselves to, there is 7 layers within each level, if you will. When you go through a period and you intake a lot of these energies, you will come to a space where you feel really, really blissful, whether it be for a couple hours, a few days, a few weeks. And then you go down into a space out of that bliss. Now that can be a very confusing space in time continuum for many of you. In that space, if you will, and in those different layers within those levels of frequency, you have a pendulum. You intake the light into your vessels, and then you have to integrate it. And that is the purpose of why if you have to have a why you come out of that blissful space. Now, I have had a few sweethearts message me and question themselves as to, why have I fallen? Well, maybe a better observation, sweethearts, is, why do you judge that you have fallen? It's not a matter of you have fallen. It's a matter of your body goes through a moment, a space, a period, whatever label you want to give it, to integrate these incoming energies, is this incoming light from Solaris, the Grand Central Sun. And as you integrate it into your vessels get tired, your vessels get seemingly sick, your vessels have to integrate it. And in that period of integration, you have to ground that energy into the earth, into your physical new grid, if you will. During that time of integration, you're going to go through a lot of moments of that giant swinging of the pendulum. All energy that is coming in and that you integrate within your vessels is light shining into the darkness. Now, if you can observe that your vessel, your human form, is the dark, the light is flooding into the dark, if you will, giving you the opportunity to release that darkness or that condensed light. All darkness is condensed light. It is during those moments that others, maybe those who are at a lower level of awareness, and even some that are at a higher level of awareness, misconstrue what compassion and empathy is. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning, Ben. Good morning, Richard. Good morning, Ellen. And sweet ones, again, everyone is at their own level of awareness. Not everybody is aware that they are light, that they are love. And oftentimes those that have just awakened, that are newly awakened, if you will, have a tendency to judge those who are just awakening. Well, there's no need for this, there's no need for that, there's no need for this, there's no need for that. We are love, we are light. I really encourage you to go within and observe those statements, those judgments, because that's what they are. There is many levels to ascension, to awakening. And again, with every rise in frequency you rise yourself to, there is 7 layers or levels within that frequency that you have to go through in order to ascend, rise, evolve to the next level of frequency. It is most encouraged and most helpful to have that compassion and that empathy for those who are not at your level of awareness. That brings me to the true topic of what I wanted to talk about today. I love you, sweethearts. On your journeys and in your journeys, there is a huge period or space in your journeys where you start out coming awakened. You start questioning. You start researching. And that takes you into another space, leads you, if you will, into another space of where you come into the understanding. I'm gonna switch the two words here for a minute. You come into the understanding that yes, you are love. Yes, you are light. And now all of a sudden you're in a space where, oh my God, I have to save the world. And you go gung-ho saving the world. Not understanding to save the world that does not need saving. It's already saved. You have to save yourself. You have to change your behaviors, your thought patterns, your beliefs, your ideas. And in that space comes the spiritual ego. And in the spiritual ego, you have to save the world. You have to wake up every other being on this planet. It is your job to command him to wake up. And then, as you go through your own judgments of what you put out there, and eventually it does come back for you to, good morning, Veronica, it does come back for you to deal with. Again, there's many layers within layers within layers within layers. When you first begin your journey, you only have a basic understanding. You do not have an understanding of what is going on. As you raise your frequencies, if you will, that understanding deepens. Now, there are many of you on your journeys that seemingly seem to go forward into backwards, up and down, up and down, up and down. For every up, you must come down. For every down, you must rise it up. For every sideways, this way, you have to go to this side and bring it back here. If you look at the Ankh, if you observe the cross, that Ankh is in your vessel. That up and down is an infinity symbol, and those two sideways is an infinity symbol, and in the middle, when two hearts meet, when two meeting points meet, that meeting point is God, and that is the point right in the middle. As you swing the pendulum this way, bringing it to that center point, as you swing your pendulum this way, bringing it to that center point, there are many layers and levels of awareness. And it is in that space, if you will, in that swing, where judgment comes from. It is through those layers, if you will, of frequencies, within frequencies, that you come to understand that there is always deeper clarity. Good morning, Rosemary. Good morning, Bethany. What was true for you 5 minutes ago is no longer your truth. What was true for you yesterday is no longer the truth today. For those of you, whichever level of awareness you are on, what is true for you right now was not true for you when you first began your journeys. Good morning, Angela. It is most encouraged to observe and allow yourself, when you feel the need to lack compassion for those who are just awakening, who are not on your level of awareness or understanding, to really observe your judgments, your statements, your comments. It is also most helpful to understand that if it has triggered a response, a reaction, an opinion, and a judgment, that is an opportunity for you to observe. What so many seemingly forget, if you will, is that you are seeing a reflection of yourself in every moment. It's easy to come to a space of saying, I love you, on Facebook, on social media, but yet truly do not understand what you are saying. You have been in a space for thousands of years of understanding, or I'm going to, let me backspace for a minute, delete that, of understanding that love, that conditional love is actually unconditional. If you allow yourselves to observe your comments on others' posts, if you allow yourself to observe your feelings of reaction, if you allow yourself to see yourself in that other being that is posting, that is commenting, that is triggering, that is offering that judgment, that opinion, or anything else, you will observe just how you are that other person, and it is your energy asking you to observe it and to unite it and unify it back into love through love. Let me give you an example. I had somebody message me last night that says, why are you writing long posts? People don't need that. Maybe you don't need that. But what about all these other people that are just waking up, that are in a pile of confusion, that really have no idea what's going on, and they're in fear? We are way showers, forerunners, and light workers for a purpose. And that purpose is to assist through compassion and love those that are just awakening. Those that do not understand, whatever label you want to give it, what it means, they are still enslaved in much mind programming. Now, sweethearts, I really encourage you, regardless of your level of awareness, to observe thyself. The only way to know thyself is to observe thyself. The only way to understand and trust thyself is to know thyself. Now, sweethearts, as long as there is a judgment of any kind that is showing you yourself a space that needs to be loved. Again, let's step back for a moment. It is very easy to say, we are one, we are love. However, if you go and observe what you write, what you post, what you express, depending on your level of awareness, you will discover just where you are not that oneness and where you are not that we are one, and you are not practicing and walking the talk. You are just talking. And that is a big thing that is in the air right now. Everybody wants to be right. Allow yourselves to let go of duality, sweet ones. Everybody is right and everybody is wrong in every given moment. In every given moment, there is a death and there is a birth. There is a question and there is an answer. There is an opportunity taken and there is an opportunity missed. In every breath, in every moment, you have a chance to be love with no opinion, no reaction, no judgment. Or you have a chance to grow into that love, that space of being and having no opinion, no reaction, no judgment. When we speak of judgment, most people attach judgment to the bigger things. Like, yes, it's judgment because his skin is black, or she's pink, or she drives a nice car so she's rich, or he drives a beater so he must be a thug. Yeah, it's easy to recognize those judgments, absolutely. What is not so easy is to become aware of the little judgments. Judgments like, there is no need to express, right? Talk about love. We are love, and for those of us in the now, understand that. See where the judgment is in that statement, sweet ones? Or how about this? How about, all right, give me, I'm trying to think, and think always leads us in the wrong direction. I'm trying to get myself an example here. Okay, here we go. Say you're in an intimate moment with, and I'm not talking sexual, I'm talking an intimate moment. Intimate is not necessarily sexual. Say you are in an intimate moment and somebody makes a statement and you come back and you say, no, you're wrong. Well, why am I wrong? Okay, let's take Donald Trump. This is actually a better one. Let's take Donald Trump. Everybody hates and loves Donald Trump. You either love him or you hate him. Now, Donald Trump is a smokescreen. For those of us that are aware of what goes on behind the scenes in the unknown, in the higher realms, and what is going on, we understand that Donald Trump is a smokescreen. Donald Trump has done more for our country in the first 100 days, regardless of your opinions, than they have in hundreds of years to help humanity, even though it doesn't appear that way. Nothing is as the physical presents itself. We judge the physical. We judge everything in the physical. So, if you observe your opinions and your judgments and your comments, why is it for you that it's wrong, or he's a jerk, or he's this or whatever? Because he triggered something within you? So it's automatically his fault, right? Absolutely, it's automatically his fault. Because it's outside of you. So everything outside of you is to blame. No. That's an error in consciousness. It's the little judgments on yourself, on others, that really reflect who and what you are in that level, in that space that you are at, and why compassion is so important to have on every level of your awakening and every level of your awareness. When you can allow your lover, the stranger, the enemy, whatever seemingly label you need to give it, your children, whatever it may be, when you allow them to be who they are, to express whatever they want to express without an opinion, then you are allowing yourself to be love, and you are allowing them to walk their journey the way they are. When you come into a space of awakening where you have to save the world and it's my job to wake these people up, sweethearts, the only job you have is to go within. You come to a space and an understanding that awakening is not a job. Love is not a job. Compassion is not a job. It's a way of being. And you will come to a space on your journeys where when you evolve yourself to a high enough frequency, you will discover that you don't have to do anything. That takes me into another space I want to touch on. In the ancient ways of being, in those ancient contracts, there have been many contracts, vows given, like the Buddhists and the monks, that you have to be a certain way. In that space and time continuum of Buddha, of Jesus, in that era, at that moment, at that space, it was necessary for those contracts, for them to be that way of being. Again, it's most helpful to understand. Good morning, Barack. Good morning, Ben. Good morning, Angela. I love you, sweet ones. It is most helpful to understand that we have evolved as a planet much higher than those ancient teachings. No longer do we need those vows of poverty, those vows of silence, those vows of chastity, those contracts, if you will. And those are deeply embedded in your cellular memory, which is being released. Now, through your levels of awareness that you obtain, you will discover that you will go through whether you can identify that it is those ancient contracts, those ancient vows you have taken or not. You come to a space where you will run into that energy time and time and time again. So many of you, thank you, beautiful. So many of you, I've already gone through this. I've already dealt with this. Why am I going through it again? Because it is, let me put it like this. You always hear us talk of the layers of the onion, if you will. Well, sweethearts, for every level of awareness that you evolve to, there's 7 onions that you have to peel the layers back and deal with not only those layers, if you will, but every opinion, every judgment, every reaction, every ripple effect within that layer. And within that one layer of your 7 onions that you have to go through for every level of ascension frequency, you will discover that there are layers within the layers, within the layers, within the layers, because of the domino and the ripple effect. So, if you put out, let me put it like this, if you put out a judgment, energy out is energy back. Now, how that energy comes back and presents itself, that can happen in limitless number of ways. It can present itself through a storm. It can present itself through an animal. It can present itself through an insect. It can present itself gracefully. It can present itself not so gracefully. Again, why judge it? And that is really key. Why judge it? Because you're judging yourself. Phaedra, sweetheart, I didn't put a notification up. I woke up late because my neighbors were doing some shady stuff last night that had woke my dogs up at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and so I was up most of the night. And so I apologize that I did not give you notification, you sweetheart's notification that I was going on. I am really more of a spontaneous person, and I'm really trying to take into consideration that it is most beneficial for most of you to have that notification that we are going live, and I'm working on that, sweetheart. And so, oh, I got you. Okay. Big hugs, Phaedra. So, sweet ones, it is really necessary to allow yourselves to observe the process. Because within that process, you are going to continuously revisit, revise your belief system, if you will. We are love, and we are love in every breath. Knowing that and having that inner knowing does not make it an automatic action, if you will. In those ancient teachings and in ancient ways of being, they no longer serve us now. Once you once you evolve, rise to a high enough frequency, they no longer hold relevance. And the purpose of why that is it's also helpful to understand you went through a space in your cellular memory in history of a matriarchal society. Then you went into a patriarchal society, which is what we are actually leaving now. In the matriarchal society, the woman, the feminine, divine, enslaved humanity, just as in this patriarchal society, how they have enslaved humanity. And that is the purpose of this ascension right now, is to bring all those cellular memories when the feminine divine enslaved the masculine divine, and to release all the memories in your cellular DNA of this patriarchal era where they have enslaved the feminine. The new earth is a balance of the two, in equality in every way, shape, or form. Those are the memories. Those are the beliefs. Those are the teachings that have to be let go. No longer are the teachings and the ancient practices from the patriarchal era nor the matriarchal era accurate for the new earth, because they are both, all of those teachings are both from the past. They are both old, and they are both, up until this moment right now, everything that you excuse me, everything you have learned, been taught, ingrained with, if you will, has been from one of those two eras. Both of those eras, one was above the other. And, hi Dave, I am talking about love and the misconceptions of love, sweetheart. So when you go through your journeys in your different layers, not only are you dealing with, we're going to speak of a trinity here, not only are you dealing with this lifetime, the memories that you have and all the hurt, the horror, the trauma, yada, 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 that you've gone through in this lifetime, this physical lifetime right now. You are also having to release everything from this patriarchal era and everything from the matriarchal era. Now, it is really easy to judge the fact that, yeah, men have done this, the Illuminati have done this, the Cabal have done this. Well, sweethearts, let me tell you something. When we were in the matriarchal era, everything that the men has done to the women in this patriarchal era, the women did to the men. The feminine divine enslaved the men. The feminine divine made them whores and prostitutes. They made them slaves. They degraded them just as much as every woman in this physical life right now has been degraded by the masculine. Again, observe your beliefs and your judgments, because they are memories, sweetheart. They are not truth. They are not fact. Everything is an opportunity, giving you the opportunity to bring yourself back to the neutral space of divine love. Divine love has no opinion. It has no judgment. It has no reaction, because divine love is all of it. It doesn't separate dark and light. It doesn't separate good and bad. It doesn't separate positive and negative. That is the human. Divine love doesn't walk up to the lady in the grocery store and says, I demand that you put on different clothes. Cover yourself up. Divine love does not demand that you have a certain amount of money or not have a certain amount of money. Divine love does not judge that bartender or that prostitute walking the streets trying to support her baby because the baby's daddy ain't around. Divine love doesn't judge that baby's daddy for not being around, or that baby's mama for going and being a stripper to support that child. Those are judgments within yourself. Those are beliefs held within yourself. And those are the little things that most do not want to acknowledge within themselves. I get so many people that comment, and I'm not judging, I'm showing you something, I'm observing it, that comment on my videos, that comment on my posts, and have so much judgment in their comments that they aren't even aware of it. Do I react? No. That's their level of awareness. Why should I allow their level of awareness to dictate how I feel about myself and my knowing? No. It's those little judgments that you have to have compassion for, not only within yourself, but within everybody else. Just because you do not need something, you do not believe something, does not mean that it is true for another. What is true for you is not going to be true for any other being on this planet right here, right now. And the reason why is because everybody is at their own level of awareness. You start this life in a victim frequency. And it is a journey on the awakening journey for those who have chosen to awaken, to release the victimization, to release the victim mentality. And as long as you judge, as long as you give an opinion, as long as you react to another person in any way, shape, or form, that is truly not in a neutral space, a peaceful space of observance, then that is giving you an opportunity to look within yourself. It does not matter your truth. It does not matter my truth. It does not matter anybody's truth. As long as it matters, go within. There's something they're showing you. Because if it matters, it doesn't matter. If it matters, there is an attachment, sweethearts. And that doesn't matter. And that goes for everything. That goes for every opinion, every emotion, every reaction, every judgment, every space of being. As long as you cannot accept every race, every religion, every culture, every government, every society, every being, female, male, child, every insect, animal, tree, every space, every breath as love, you hold something to be released. And that is giving you an opportunity to see that. If you are in a space, sweethearts, where you're looking at another way shower or a light worker and you're judging them, saying, no, they're wrong. I'm telling you here and now, go within and observe, because you're wrong. You're judging. As long as you are in a space where you still sit there and say right and wrong, good and bad, you are keeping yourself locked into a space of duality and polarity. As long as you look at any male and still hold chains around your heart because all men are the same, all men are pigs, all men are this, or that's a man for you, you're holding judgment. Go within. As long as you're looking at a feminine, and you sit there and you judge the feminine on why she's with that guy, you can do better than that, or whatever it may be. As long as you look at the feminine and you still see that she needs to be in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant, and the man has to go out and be the only one to make the bread or bring the bread home, whatever, the bacon home, I guess is the statement. Whatever it may be, you're holding judgment, sweethearts. As long as you have an opinion about anybody else that holds any kind of negative connotation in any way, shape, or form, you're holding judgment within, and you are not being that being of divine love. You will revisit and revisit and revisit until you purge it and you release it all. And trust me, sweethearts, when I say it goes back thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years. And if you think all that judgment that has been enslaved in you can be released overnight just because you've awakened to we are love, it's an error in consciousness. Love is. It is the whole. It is the all. And as long as you hold judgment, you lack compassion in the true sense of the word. It is allowing each other to be each other on their own journeys. Absolutely. If you judge others, I judge myself. That's right. But Carrie, again, depending on each person's level of awareness, they truly don't understand what that means. They take it literal, just like they take religious texts and everything. But life is not literal, sweethearts, and neither is love. Love is unseen, unheard, untangible. It is your breath. It is really helpful to express through auto writing, through poetry, through dance, through music. When you are creative with your energies, regardless of what label you give them, good, bad, or indifferent, when you can express that through creativity, you are releasing it in a very healthy way. A very compassionate way, because you are not projecting it onto anybody else. When you can allow yourself to observe your projections, you will find where belief still remains. And if you have to have a job, sweet ones, that's your job. To observe thyself, to know thyself, to change thyself. And to release the memories of the matriarchal enslavement. To release the memories of the patriarchal enslavement. Because divine love has no separation. There is no above another. There is no power over others. It's understanding and coming to that full understanding that all are equal. Nancy Lynn asks, and Nancy, I thank you for asking this question. Nancy Lynn asks, how do you not judge people that are hurting you? I have a hard time with that. Nancy, I'm going to ask you this, and I'm going to ask you before you respond to this to breathe. And to really hear within your heart my words, sweetheart. Everybody is a mirror for you. Now, I understand and overstand that the human mind cannot comprehend what I'm going to say, and that's why I ask you to feel and to hear in your heart what I'm going to say to you. It is not easy to not judge, and that is part of the lesson of learning to not judge. When you can see beyond what the physical is presenting. In other words, Nancy, how do you not judge people that are hurting you? When you can sit there and observe the hurt and not the action of the other. When you can sit there and you can observe what that other person, it's helpful to know nothing is being done to you. It is being done for you. Because nothing is as this physical presents itself. That person, whether it is your lover, whether it is a one-night stand, whether it is a group of girls, your buddies, your ladies, your children, what your parents, your grandparents, the seemingly stranger, the enemy, the best friend, whatever it is an opportunity. All they are doing is playing a role to trigger emotions and wounds that have already existed. Let me give you an example, please. In my experience in this lifetime, I have gone through much abuse. Whether it be physical, mental, emotional, I've gone through much abuse. For the first 44, I'm 48 years old in linear time. Actually, I'm very ancient, but in linear time, I'm 48 years old. Now, Nancy, I lived my life in a victim mentality, in a victim mode for 44 years. And until you can step outside of that and actually, and it's not easy to do at all. Normally, in order for us, when we come to that space where we actually remove ourselves from that mentality, all of the shit starts coming back on us, if you will. All that is triggering. Those people are not hurting you. That hurt that you are attaching to them, that they are hurting you, that hurt already existed within you. They just triggered it. That wound already existed. They just triggered it. Now, let's observe that, Nancy, from another angle, if you will, sweetheart. Observe why you feel they are hurting you and not you are the one hurting you. Now, the next thought that's going to come up for many of you when I say that is, now explain to me how I am the one who's hurting me. How am I abusing me? He has physically hit me. How is that me? Well, again, the physical is not what is being presented. That is not the issue, what the physical is presenting. The issue is what the physical has triggered, what emotion does. If I sit there, I'm going to use this as an example. If I sit there and call you a bitch, if I use that C word or that so many women hate, whatever it may be, it's going to trigger a reaction in you. I cannot say that there is any, and I'm talking from the human aspect for a moment, any woman that likes to be called that C word. And in my experiences, anyone, man or woman, who has called me or any other number of people that I've been around that C-U-N-T word, if you will, it triggers something in the women. Now, that trigger, by that person saying it to you, that hurts. So, Nancy, to how we have been raised in the beliefs and stuff, when somebody hurts you physically, mentally, emotionally, right? That means somebody's doing something to you. It is never what the surface presents. There is always a hidden, always an unseen attached to it. And that is the deeply embedded hurts, angers, wounds within. So it's not that person who is calling you names or who is hitting you. They are not, even though the physical presents to you that they are doing it to you, they are actually doing it for you so you can go within, detach the emotions, and observe those emotions. Because in those emotion and feeling are two different things, sweetheart. It is in those emotions that lies your answer. That's right. Ellen, Phaedra, that's right. And then you get mad. Again, they stated a word that triggered a wound within you. Mm-hmm. It is not the action that they did. It is what you need to observe is the wound that they triggered. Now, why does that opinion of that person who called you that C word or that B word or whatever it may be, why does it make you mad? That's the question to be asking yourself. Why does it hurt that they say that? Why does it hurt that they do that? And why are you judging it as such? That's the observation. Those are the questions that need to be observed. If I call you an asshole and you get defensive, why? I call you an asshole, it's because it's an opinion. Doesn't make it truth, so why is it bothering you? No opinion matters, not even your own. That's the humanness. Now take it to the spiritual side of things and look at it from the wound that it was triggered, that they triggered. Now, if you trickle back name calling and stuff like that, dig deeper, sweet ones. Dig deeper, down, 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 and find the roots. Exactly, and it's that wound that you want to get to, not the opinion or the judgment or the reaction of another. The physical is never, the issue is never what the physical presents, sweethearts. And that is where self-love, compassion, and empathy come in. That is where you need to love whatever arises back to love. There are many out here that do this for the glory, that want the followers, that need those groupies. You know how many women out there are groupies to some of these way showers? You know how many women or men with the women that go into private messages, go onto phone calls, and engage in energetic sexual exchanges, thinking that it's going to raise their frequency. What you are doing is you're bringing, it does not matter if you have astral sex, it does not matter if you have physical sex, sweethearts. When you exchange sexual energy with anyone, you are taking on their DNA into yourself. The second a man and a woman, or a man and a man, and a woman, it don't matter. The second you engage in the physical, in sex, you have planted that DNA within that womb. Second a man enters a woman, his DNA is placed in her, and you have now taken on all their karmic energy. And that is where a lot of wounds exist for you. That's where being called names, this and that, stem from. Everything is energy. And so in your partner, or in your past boyfriend, girlfriend, lover, whatever it may be, 95% of humanity, when they leave a relationship, it is not left in love. It is left in judgment. It is left in anger. It is left in unfinished business. And in every relationship, because of that unfinished business, because it has ended poorly, ended badly, whatever label you want to give it, you carry those wounds with you in every breath, in every moment forward, until you deal with those wounds. And if you don't, how many of you have gotten out of a marriage or a divorce and jumped right into another relationship? And how many of you that rebound relationship didn't work? Because you were trying, you looked to somebody else to save you. Nobody else can save you. Nothing can work as long as there is unhealed wounds. It will never be the way you want it to be. And then that is what this journey is all about, returning to love. It is returning every aspect, every atom, every space, every particle, every nuclei, whatever label you want to give it, back to love. And that is where you have to have compassion. How do we heal them? You become aware of them. You dig deeper. If somebody has triggered something in you, don't keep going, well, this is what she or he said, this is what they did, and this was my response, and this was my reaction. No, you're keeping it going. The second they trigger that feeling, say, I call you a bitch, and it hurts you. Stop right there. Stop right there. It does not matter that I called you a name. Don't even worry about that anymore. Stop right there. It has nothing to do with me from that moment on. I may have been the one that triggered it, but it has nothing to do with me from that moment on. If you can allow yourself to stop right there when it is triggered, stop looking at the physical and dig into that hurt, that anger, that shame, that guilt, that blame, whatever it may be that was triggered. If you stop right there the second it is triggered and don't react and breathe, detach your emotions, your opinions, your judgments to it. You stop right there and you dig deeper into that feeling. Okay, this person called me a bitch and it hurt. Why? What are you trying to show me, self? What are you trying to show me, spirit? And dig deeper. Okay, I felt this same feeling when so-and-so did this to me a week ago, or a year ago, or 5 years ago. Okay, so I know it goes back that far. Now let's see how much further it goes. Dig deeper, dig deeper, dig deeper, until you get to the root core issue. Sweet ones, I can tell you this, and I ask you, please go within and validate anything I say. Do not take my word for it, please. And Ellen, I'll get to your question in a moment. Let me finish with this one, sweetheart, please. It matters not any of that. What matters is where you continue to hold on to that. Every issue in humanity can be traced back to three things: worthiness, trust issues, and abandonment. Every issue you have in your life, every emotion, every judgment you hold can be tied back, if you dig deep enough and allow yourself to dig deep enough and to really truly dig into and walk those fires of the dark night of the soul, if you will. You will find every issue you have within your life is tied to abandonment, unworthiness, and trust issues. And when you can heal those three and all the debris of those three that have come forward through thousands of lifetimes, if you will, then you will become whole. And the reason those are the three core issues, sweet ones, is because when you chose to incarnate into the physical form, you chose to be veiled. You chose to forget your divinity, your sovereignty, your freedom. You made a choice. And when you came into form, being veiled, you felt abandoned by your Creator, by yourself, by love. And because you were veiled, you came to a space of feeling and thinking that you were unworthy because you forgot that you forgot. And that is when judgment started. And that is when you came and began to not trust yourself. So every issue you have in your lifetime, with any union, with any relationship, whatever it is, it comes back. And the core wound that has to be healed deals with unworthiness, abandonment, and trust. And that is how you heal it, Phaedra. No, never blame it on the Creator. That's true, because you are that Creator. That Creator lives within you as your heart, as your love. However, how many of you throughout your lifetimes have blamed God? If there was a God, He wouldn't let this happen. If there was a God, this wouldn't be. Why are you judging God? Why are you judging the Creator? Why are you judging self? And why are you judging you? For you, Phaedra, that may very well be true, beautiful, but there are many of us, including myself, that have. When I went through the incident of the rape, I begged to die. I begged and begged and begged to be taken out of the cruelty of this world. I said, God, you sit there and you say you love me. How can you say you love me when you allow this to happen to me? When I have done nothing to deserve this. So yeah, we do judge, Phaedra, whether we realize it or not. And that is what the journey of divine love is all about. Is releasing that judgment. Releasing those wounds and coming to that space of neutrality. Love will set you free, absolutely. But that love that will set you free is your own self-love. And that's not always easy. And there are 8 billion souls on this earth, sweethearts. Well, almost 8 billion. And out of those 8 billion souls, if you will, there's 8 different levels of there's 8 billion different levels of awareness. And that is where compassion comes in. Because those 8 billion souls are God, each and every one of them. God is not outside of you. God dwells within you as you. God is the very breath you breathe. It is the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is your breath. You are the living Word in every breath of God in form. God, Spirit, Creator, Source, whatever label you want to give it, does not exist outside of you. It exists within you as you. And that is what is being, the ascension journey is about. Is bringing you, returning you back to that space. And the greatest challenge each of you will face on your journeys, and every layer within the levels, every level of frequency, comes back to that. Self-love. And loving thy neighbor as thyself. In other words, if you don't like somebody calling you names, if you don't like somebody lying to you, you don't like somebody keeping things hidden from you, then stop doing it to others. You want respect? Then start respecting everybody else as you would respect yourself. Whatever you demand from others, you need to demand from yourself first. It's walking the talk. It's easy to come on here and do videos. It's easy to say I love you. It's easy to say we are one. It's not so easy to practice it in every breath. It's why so many out there can't walk their talk. And that's what we have to do in every breath. We have to walk our talk. We can't just talk. I love you, sweet ones. It is not an easy journey, and if there's anybody out there telling you it's easy, well, then they haven't done the work, sweet ones, and they haven't taken the journey, because it's not an easy journey. It's very, very challenging to look at the demons that we see in the outside world and in everybody else, like Donald Trump and the rest of them. But it's a heck of a lot easier to see them within yourself. What you see in me exists in you. If you see beauty in me, it's because there's a space in you that you find beautiful. If you find me fat, go within and ask yourself why you're judging yourself. If you see me as crazy or wacko, go within. Where have you been mind programmed and enslaved to believe that a certain behavior is wacko just because it don't fit into your box? Your box of beliefs. Believe. Be lie. The word lie is right in the middle of belief. A belief is a lie. It is an untruth. A belief is something that has been ingrained in you, has been taught to you, has been told to you from an outside source as being truth. Because love and God has no beliefs. It has no separation in any way, shape, or form. It just is. And it is accepting, and it is allowing is that resides in 8 billion souls on this planet to express is in any way, shape, or form it wants to. Does that make it right or wrong? No. It doesn't matter if those are in a gang, because you are the ones who label it right or wrong. Humanity labels it. God allows it. God accepts it because God knows that all is love and everybody is on their own journey and they have to experience what they're experiencing in order to remember to know thyself. Going within is observing ourselves, not meditating. When you go into meditation to quiet the mind, that is where you observe, sweetheart. Meditating to go into meditation ain't just to go in there and say, it's not to do this, just that. It's to quiet the mind to hear the spirit within you. It's to quiet the mind to hear God in here. And to hear this wisdom. Because you do not get wisdom from here, you get it from here. Wisdom is not learned. It is remembered when you return to her. And her wisdom, love, is your heart. Again, humanity has put labels on it, when all it is. It just is. And that's how you observe. You can observe in every breath. You don't need to meditate just to observe. You meditate to interdimensionally travel. You meditate to connect to the different dimensions. But you don't have to go into meditation like this to get that effect. You can go for a walk and have a walking meditation. And it will become your every breath. Your life will become an open-eyed meditation, if you will, because you have brought yourself and returned yourself back to the frequency, which is a very high frequency, of love. And life becomes a creative expression of that love. It becomes a creative meditation in every breath. Ellen, you asked me something a while ago. What was, and I told you I'd get back to it, sweetheart. What was it, beautiful? Should we not be in a sexual relationship until with our twin flame because of karma? The key word there I'd like you to observe is should. There is no should, coulda, woulda, hadda, whatever. There is none of that. Many are guided throughout their journeys, and that's why so many relationships fall away, if you will, in the beginning of your journeys. They fall away throughout it, but in the beginning. And the purpose of that is you have to learn to love thyself, and you cannot love thyself if you are in a codependent relationship. That's why so many marriages, so many relationships fall away, fall apart while you are on your journey. Most relationships in this physical lifetime has been based on need. Need for stability, need for security, need for love, need for happiness. It is all based on needs outside of yourself. In sexual relationships, many on this journey come to a space where they do not engage in physical sexual acts, thinking that's going to make them pure and whole, but they engage in astral sex. They call people up and exchange energy, sexual energy over the phone, over videos, whatever it may be, thinking that is okay and not going to affect their journeys. You come to understand on your journeys that any kind of exchange of energy, sexual or otherwise, has a profound effect on you, on thyself. And you come to a space where you do not want, nor desire, or have a need for that sexual relationship. Again, it's a pendulum, because you come to that space, and then again you come to that space on your journeys where you get caught up in twin flames. And again, twin flames is just a stepping stone. They're all needs and showing you needs and stuff like that. There is much misconception about twin flames. And I would encourage all of you to not focus on twin flames, to focus within on yourself. And so many reach that space where they stop themselves from engaging in that sexual exchange, that sexual energy exchange, that sexual connotation in every way, if you will. And the purpose for that is, as long as you are engaging with another person and you have any kind of issues, you focus on that person and you don't focus it within. And so many of us on our journeys have chosen to be in solitude, have chosen to reframe from that, because we have come into a space of understanding that sexual energy is very powerful, and it creates. And therefore, you come to that space where you do not need to be promiscuous. You do not need to engage in astral sex. You do not need to engage in any of it, because you know that the second you come to the inner standing and the inner knowing that the second you do, you have just put a seed out to creation. Good, bad, or indifferent. If you feel a need, sweet ones, for that sexual release, I really encourage you. I really encourage you to masturbate, for lack of a better word for it. I say that because you are becoming intimate with yourself rather than intimate with another, and putting out an unconscious seed in creation, if you will. An unconscious karmic seed in creation, if you will. There are many who, like myself, who have chosen to be single, not engage in that sexual energy exchange, because they do understand the sacred union within and without, and they do understand the power of creation within sexual intimacy, sexual energy exchange. And many come to a space where they truly have no desire, no need, no want for that physical sexual relations, if you will, because they are already within, in union with their divine consort. And so the physical world just, again, the physical world is a holograph. It's a hologram. It's an illusion. Your real life is up here. Your real life is in here. Your true life is in your dream time. The physical, everything happens in the ethers. The physical takes longer to manifest into the physical. I hope that answered your question, Ellen. If not, sweetheart, message me and we can talk some more about it if you like. Somebody just said something and I'm not sure what they said. Let me go back. I live alone now. I do not like it. Phaedra, I encourage you, sweetheart, to really observe what you don't like about it. What makes you lonely? That is your inner child within. If there is something you do not like, if you feel lonely, there is a space within your inner child that is asking for your love, asking for your comfort, asking for your nurturing, because it is feeling neglected. It's feeling abandoned. And that's a space within that needs healed. The Ascension Awakening journey, sweet ones, is a singular journey, and it can get very lonely at times. You go through these experiences to bring you back into the inner standing and the inner knowing that you are never alone. You are always connected to Source, to Creator, to God, to love. And in those spaces of loneliness is where many will come to you and tempt you with that sexual connection, with that sexual energy exchange over Facebook or social media or whatever it may be. And again, Everybody is playing a role for you to show you something within yourself to observe. There is nothing outside of you, and all these people like myself, all of us that you see with your physical eyes or connect with, are an aspect of you. They are you either in a lower frequency, a past lifetime, or they are you in a higher frequency and a future timeline. I've stated many times I'm from 175 million years in the future. I have come back to do this mission. So of each of you, you're from the future, you have come back to pull in all your energetic aspects that you have put out over the course of the matriarchal era and the patriarchal era, to bring them back to 0 point, to bring them back into neutrality and harmonization. Because the new 5D Earth grid, the new harmonic frequency Earth is fully moving into and through on Christmas Day of this year, it has to be brought back into harmony before you can pass on with her, if you will. And that's what this journey is about. It is never about anything outside of you. That's why there's the saying that, again, all these quotes, people take them literally and they don't see the parables and the allegories and the hidden in between what is to be seen. You have been taught that the physical world is the truth, and the physical world is not the truth. The truth is in here, not out here. The physical world is an illusion, because everything that you experience, everything that you see out here, has already happened and taken place in here and up here in the others. And it's really challenging for many to truly understand what that means. And that is why it is so important to have compassion, mercy, which is all mercy is forgiveness. Now, there are many that say it's judgment. No, God does not judge. The human judge. And that's why in every breath, to return yourself before you react, give an opinion or a judgment, to return yourself back to that space of peace, of calm, of breath, that is where your grace and your mercy is. And that is where your compassion and your love is. And when you can see the divinity and the sovereignty and the holiness in everything and everyone outside of you, it means that you have found it within you. And that's where you want to be. Everybody is an energy aspect of yourself. Your enemy was your lover in a past life, was your spouse. That seemingly stranger, or that galactic person on Facebook, they are you, just you in a different frequency, a different dimension, whether that's a lower dimension or a higher dimension. That's why we encourage you not to judge. Not judge Donald Trump. Not judge those rapists. Not judge those murderers. Not judge those child abusers. Because the 8 billion souls that reside on this earth right now, and I don't care if you're in Asia, Africa, the United States, Timbuktu, inner earth, outer earth, it don't matter. 8 billion souls. And they are all aspects of you. They are all you in a different level of frequency. It don't matter what their skin color is. It don't matter their culture, their religions, or anything else. Again, like I said, I'm from 175 million years in the future. There's 8 billion souls on this earth right now. Every single one of you are a reflection of myself, just as I and everybody else is a reflection for you. We are aspects of you. So if you see me ugly, That's a space within you that you need to pull that energy fragment within and love it back to love. If you see me as beautiful, that is a space within yourself that you have already loved back to love. And when you reach a certain space in a certain frequency, you just become all that you are, that which is love. You no longer have those opinions or those reactions. You've come to, from this pendulum this way, and from this pendulum of rising and falling, and swinging from side to side, becomes centered. It becomes balanced. It becomes whole. It becomes complete. And it comes back to the space of what all that it is, just love. That is peace, neutrality, observance. Allowance and acceptance of all in every breath. So if you still go through periods where you maintain a frequency most of the time, but yet you still fall off and you still explode and you still go off on your children or your spouses or your friends or whatever, that's showing you an issue you need to heal within. If you still judge 3D and 5D, well, 3D is just bullshit. It's just an illusion. I reside in 5D. I don't have to deal with this 3D stuff. Well, sorry to burst your bubble, sweet ones. You just dropped yourself right smack into the middle of the abyss by your judgment and by your denial. You just told your mighty I Am presence, bring it on, I need some more lessons. Because I truly don't understand what love is. As long as you are in human form, sweet ones, you are given an opportunity to be love, to return to love, to be all that you are. And as long as you are in human form, you are in a space of remembering your mastery. Because if you were all that, if you were all, everything that you are, if you did not have anything else to transform in this space, in this moment right now, you would be fully in your light body. So, to those of us that are on very, very, very high frequencies of awareness, and for those of us who are in the middle, and for those of us who are just beginning to understand, it does not matter. Because all is thyself. And all is and was and has been created for you, by you, so you could have these experiences to harmonize your cellular memories and the energy signatures that have been put out, returning you to all that you are, which is divine love. Set yourselves free. Allow yourselves to be free. And when you allow yourselves to be free, you allow everybody else to be free too. And that's what oneness means. That's what we are one means. Yes, there are 8 billion souls outside of you. You're right. But the only reason those 8 billion souls, whether you've met them or not, are outside of you is because you have not brought them back into you. And if you see any of those 8 billion souls in any way, shape, or form, it's different than you. It's giving you an opportunity in a space to bring that energy aspect back within yourself through love. And when you can look at any 8 of these 8 billion souls, whether it's Donald Trump, whether it's the Cabal, whether it is the Illuminati, whatever label you have to give them. And until you can come to that space within where you love regardless of your beliefs or what you think you know, when you just love them and accept them fully, whether you agree, resonate, not resonate, disagree, whatever it may be, but you can accept them for being them, being who they are, being where they are on their journey, without it being right or wrong, without it being judgmental in any way, shape, or form, then you have fully accepted that person, that energy aspect, that energy signature that is you. You have now integrated it and returned it back to love. Because you've been every race. You've been every judgment, every prejudice, every skin color, every nation, every culture, every society. You have been Asian. You have been black. You have been Korean. You have been Japanese. You have been English. You have been Irish. You have been German. You have been Australian. You have been and you are. And those are the aspects that you are bringing back into yourself. And that is what awakening is all about. And that is what oneness means. We are all interconnected. Yet, we are all a unique individual expression of love in all its glory, in all its non-glory, in all its facets, in all its aspects. And when you can judge anything, dark, light, good, bad, positive, negative, there's a space within you that needs your love. Because all is just an experience. An experience bringing you back to your mastery, bringing you back to the 0 point, bringing you back to that moment, that space in the space and time continuum where you abandoned yourself by coming into form. You were never abandoned by God. You were abandoned by you by choice. And that's a pretty hard pill for anyone to swallow, especially when they don't understand. They don't remember. And that's why we write. That's why we assist. That's why we are way showers. So we can assist you. So we can hold space for you and love you unconditionally as you return you home. Home is not off of this planet, sweethearts. Home is right here in your heart. When you sit there and say, I want to go back home, I want to go to my star galaxy, I want to go here, I want to return to my star planet, You already are. Because every one of your star nations are inside this planet. It's inside you. The earth, many say the earth is not round, that the earth is flat. Sweethearts, the earth is both. And as long as you keep separating it, you keep yourself in separation. The planet is a starship with layers or floors or levels. That's why the earth appears flat to some and why it appears round to others. There is not a right or wrong in that answer. It just is. Allow yourselves to love. That's the key, the answer, and the solution. And to be all that you are means being the living word and being the action of that. Doesn't mean going on Facebook, putting up a pretty picture or a pretty quote or saying I love you. It means being that love in every moment without judgment, without reaction, without opinion. And you don't need social media to do that. You need your breath to do that, and that's all you need. And when you can love yourself back to love, you will find that the physical will bring to you all that you desire. But you have to take the action in every breath and love being without that which your heart truly desires, and love being without it and being in love without it. You have to experience every shadow aspect of love to appreciate every light aspect of love, if you will. You had to experience every polarity to understand polarity. You had to experience the experiences to come to understand what it is you do truly desire and want. You had to experience it, everything you didn't want, to come to the understanding of what it is you truly do want. Because had you not experienced abuse, abandonment, rejection, you truly would not be able to understand and appreciate and be grateful for all that it is. Observe your rare marriages and your relationships through your lifetimes. There are many who would not be able to acknowledge the fact that they emotionally cheated on their spouse, or mentally cheated on their spouse, or physically cheated on their spouse in their relationships or their partners. You're married and you're flirting online and having sexual chats and everything with somebody online, and it's kept hidden. Well, that's not cheating on my partner. How is it not? You're being untrue to yourself, so how is it not cheating? You're cheating yourself out of something sacred. And that's just an example I used. There is much judgment in every way, sweet ones. And what it comes down to is those opinions, those reactions, and those judgments are spaces within you that you still dislike and do not love about yourself. And so you have to have it projected to you through others outside of you so you can actually be given the opportunity to see for yourself your own inner demons, your own inner Satan, your own inner devil. To be informed is to come into the abyss, to come into hell, and to rise that hell and evolve it up to heaven. Earth and heaven and hell are one in the same place. It's called the planet Earth. Which reality you choose to live in, dwell in, exist in, is a choice made in every breath, every feeling, every emotion, and every thought, in every given moment. So if you do not like your world, or any aspect of your world, then that's a space inside of you that you don't like about you. And that is where compassion needs to come in for yourself. I love you, sweet ones. I have a really bad toothache. I broke a tooth off, so if it seems like I am very tired or anything like that, somebody had messaged me and made a comment about it. I'm perfect. I am perfectly fine. My physical vessel is going through a distortion, and I just choose not to engage in it. So, I love you, sweethearts. I am holding you in eternal peace, grace, love, blessings. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that. I'm grateful for you, sweet ones. I truly am. You keep me humble, and let me restate that. You assist me in keeping myself humble. And I appreciate that. I appreciate your love. I appreciate your radiance. And I encourage you to keep shining. Because you guys are radiant. You're diamonds. And even if you don't feel like you're shining, you're just taking a moment and just getting a little, shining yourself up, We got to become a little dull in order to shine even brighter. So allow yourself to be that. And don't judge it. And if you're feeling dull one day or one moment, then you got the rest of us here to help you scrape off the dull, to wipe off the dullness. You have the rest of us all here to help you, to assist you, hand in hand, side by side. We're in this together. So reach out. And on that note, have a magical, magical, magical day, sweethearts. I love you. I have a session coming up here, so I need to go. And I'm here for you. I love you. Have a beautiful day. And embrace the magic and allow yourselves to feel it. Because that's all there is. Bye-bye now, guys. Big, big hugs and blessings.